What's going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to it, and I wanted to bring you an interview between Tucker Carlson and Ice Cube. And I really found this to be a pretty good interview, man. I did. Ice Cube is somebody who I used to listen to some of his songs back when I was in high school, back 30 years ago, when he was really at the height of his popularity as far as music, back in the early 90s. But anyways, man, this interview was pretty good, man. He definitely has some base views on things. He definitely does. But hey, if you guys would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks.
I mean, you could do an interview with anyone. You're doing an interview with me. Obviously, you're going to take abuse for doing that. Like, why would you do that?
Because I think it's silly not to talk to people. I think whether we agree or not,
right?
That has nothing to do with it. You know, it's like, this is what it's all about. Let's talk about it. Let's debate. And you know, I've been shut out.
Wait, that sounds like right-wing extremism and whataboutism.
But I've been shut out. You know, some platforms will not have me on.
Why?
They don't like that I'm, you know, an independent thinker. I'm not part of the herd. I'm not part of the go along to get along gang, so to speak. So, you know, I'm an outsider. And so, you know, I'm not part of the club. So I have to go places for one, that I'm welcome,
yeah,
and where I can voice my opinion without somebody, you know, saying I'm a bad person and that they never want to have me on their platform again.
What platforms have banned you?
I've been, you know, I tried to go on The View. They didn't have me on The View.
Why?
Well, a few of the guests just really didn't like where I was coming from. So, or a few of the hosts, I mean. So that's what I was told by the producers. You know, I don't know if the producers was just copping out and using some of the hosts to not have me come on and explain myself, but...
You'd be a good booking for them.
I've been on there before.
Yeah.
You know, it's just when I've became an independent thinker, when I've, you know, I'm not, you know, I don't follow their brand of politics, I guess.
But if you can't think for yourself, then you're not really free, are you?
No, you're not. You're not. But I've been excluded. I've been excluded on Oprah, you know.
On Oprah?
On Oprah, yeah, I've been excluded. Yeah, man.
I would think you'd be the person Oprah would want to promote. I mean, you grew up in South Central, you were successful at a young age, you have dignity, you say what you think. Like, I thought that was the goal.
Me too, you know.
Well, yeah. Yeah, he's definitely been canceled in a lot of ways, man. I mean, The View, they won't deal with them. Oprah won't deal with them. And again, man, we have to understand that he turned away from a $9 billion payday because he refused to take the COVID vaccine. And in my book, man, that's right. I mean, he's right. Again, you shouldn't take anything anyone is trying to force upon you. Anything. Again, that's his health. That's your health, your body. If you want to take a shot, it's up to you. If you don't, that's up to you too. But again, that's not the way the left sees it. And again, if he wants to talk to Donald Trump, he should be able to without pushback. And again, man, because he dared to sit down with Donald Trump, yeah, he was blackballed. He was blacklisted. Nobody wants to deal with him. They don't. They don't want to deal with Ice Cube. Why? Because, man, he's strayed away from the status quo. He's strayed away from that. You know, again, man, he's thinking for himself. And, you know, I know for myself as well. You know, I remember wake-up calls that I had, because I used to be a little more left-leaning at one time. Again, not, I wouldn't call myself left, ever really left, but, I was definitely more left than what I am now. And I remember certain wake-up calls when I realized, man, I'm being played. They're trying to play me. I think Ice Cube is waking up. I do. I believe he's waking up. And again, man, it's not based on race. Not at all. And again, man, if they're trying to divide people because of race, based on race, if they're telling you that you're oppressed and they're telling other people that they're oppressors, and they had to divide people in a group and do DEI training and diversity training and saying that these people might be offended by this and this group might be offended by that. And, again, if they're dividing people into groups, watch out. Again, that is what the enemy does.
I had a movie called Barbershop,
I remember.
That I wasn't invited to participate with the cast. I produced a show called Black White, and it was a very controversial show. And once again, they had the whole cast on, but I wasn't invited. And so I don't know.
On Oprah's show.
Yeah, so I don't know what that's really.
But Oprah's obviously a saintly, godlike figure who's revered by all decent people. Why would she exclude you?
I really don't know. That's something that I would love to find out. But I can't tell you, if there's a single thing that I've done or said to her.
Have you noticed that it is more controversial to criticize Oprah than to burn the American flag?
Really?
Seems that way. I've never heard anybody criticize Oprah. Do you think it's political or do you think it's deeper than that? You're not like a right winger.
No.
No. You don't even seem that political.
No, I'm not really. I'm pretty much, just want to do right by the people, So if that comes through political means, that comes through the private sector, wherever it comes, I'm down to work with whoever's down to do something right for the people.
That's crazy. It is, man. He was not invited on Oprah. And the entire cast of Barbershop is on there. And again, man, he was one of the stars of that movie. But yeah, no Ice Cube. And we got to again wonder why. Again, if you don't toe the line, of what the leftist narrative says, again, like Joe Biden says, you ain't black. If you don't vote Democrat, you ain't black.
So I remember reading you say something along the lines of, I didn't vote for Trump. I'm not a Trump voter. You actually attacked Trump at one point, but you were willing to meet with Trump. Do you think that crossed a line?
I think some people didn't like that, but I think it's idiotic. Enemies meet.
Right.
They talk. I'm pretty sure there's some communication between Russia and the Ukraine right now. Somebody's on the phone talking to somebody, trying to come up with a solution. So we just got to talk. That's the only way we're going to work this out. I know when the talking stops, the fighting starts. A lot of people, they, think I'm a, Republican. I'm a right winger. Just because I was willing to speak to the Trump administration, and I was willing to speak with the Biden administration as well.
Have you?
One guy in the administration, but it didn't go anywhere. It was basically a, take my temperature kind of call.
You know what's funny? Sometimes you find out your enemy, or what you think is your enemy, is not, man. Really, it's your friend. Again, sometimes the people that offend you the most are the people that are telling you the truth. Again, That is one thing I noticed, man, in my own life. You know, I remember telling somebody who is my parents' age, man, who talked to me some time ago, some years ago. And he told me something. He told me a few different things that I didn't want to hear. And he told me, and I remember getting offended, you know, getting upset by it. And then I realized as I got older, man, he was trying to help me. He was telling me the truth. And the people that were, you know, that were just pacifying me. The people that were just pacifying me, making me feel good, were the ones that were hurting me. They were the ones who were, again, weren't brave enough to tell me the truth. They weren't brave enough to hurt my feelings. But this guy was. Man, he laid it to me pretty straight. And it was like, man, initially I got offended. I got upset. But anyways, man, the issue is what the point that I'm trying to make is, again, a lot of times you find out the people that you believe are your enemy, they're not. They're your friends.
What do you think of Biden?
I don't think he's given the people who put him in exactly what they thought they were going to get from him.
But his most loyal voters, according to the polls anyway, are black voters, particularly black women. Mm-hmm. And those numbers don't seem to change. So no matter what happens or doesn't happen. So do you expect they ever will change?
You know, whether they become independents and not vote for anybody who's not bringing it. You know, it's like people want your vote. They have to do something to earn it. If they don't earn it, why are you going down there and pulling that lever?
Because the other side hates you. That's the pitch they make. We may suck, but the other side hates you.
You're supposed to dance with the person you brought.
Yeah.
You know? And the person that brought you to the dance, you guys are supposed to dance together. And if that doesn't happen, you got to go find another dancing partner before the night is up and the music stops.
What do you think of Kamala Harris?
I mean, obviously she's a great politician to be able to become the vice president of the country. I don't know how effective she is at her job.
Well, again, guys, we have got to understand that people like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, man, they are establishment Democrats. And right now, you know, black people on the whole, they tend to vote Democrat. You know, again, I think Tucker said that the majority of black women, you know, of course, they vote Democrat, and they're the most loyal Democratic voters. And the thing is, man, it does not matter if they're doing anything for you. You know, I think Republicans, again, since you see a lot of white guys, man, you think it's racist. And no, it's not. Number one, man, I think that's starting to change. But no, it's not. It's a bunch of people, bunch of guys that don't trust the government. That's really what it is. You know, again, man, but that believes that we need to have a minimal government. But that's it. We need to have a minimal government in place. You know, again, the military, you know, again, we need to have a minimal government. But we don't need to have all this bureaucracy. We don't. And again, that's dangerous, man. When you get such a big government that has so much power, so much say, and start adding all these departments and everything else, man, you are increasing the size and the power of the government. And you would think to a degree that black people would be suspicious of the government, you know, because of certain things that happened at one time. But again, they're not. They're being told by their mama and their mama's mama that the Democratic Party is the one that's got your back. They ain't got your back. They ain't got your back at all. As a matter of fact, man, you got to think about this. 60 years ago, only 25% of black families didn't have a father in the house. Now only 20 to 25% of black families do have a father in the house. So again, we have got to understand what happened during that time. What did LBJ introduce? And again, what happened? What happened? Question that. People got to question things. And again, it may hurt people's feelings initially when you say that, but tell them the truth.
Do you think that it's harder to be a man in America now than it was when you were a kid?
Yes. Saying what you feel, being yourself, is what they call toxic. We shouldn't be called toxic for our instincts and for, I was born this way. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Why can't we be ourselves? We were born this way too.
So there are some groups, like if I say I'm trans, and people say, that's great, you were born that way, we affirm you. But if you say I'm just a dude with male instincts, you're not affirmed, you're attacked.
Yeah, everybody doesn't really have to affirm you. If I wake up and say, I feel like a pigeon, and I want everybody to treat me like a pigeon. Some people may say, whatever, Q, we treat you like a pigeon. But some people may choose to be like, dude, no. That's your world.
Yeah.
I'm not part of it. And I have to be ready for that.
There is an attack on traditional masculinity. There is. Again, man, people against Cube, they see that. They understand that. And again, I may not agree with everything the man has to say, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Again, he should feel comfortable saying what he has to say, and I should feel comfortable saying what I had to say. And again, man, nobody's going to make you feel comfortable except for you. Stop buying into this leftist narrative. Nobody's going to hold your hand. And again, that's how they're taking power away. Is they're convincing people that they have to be affirmed. They have to be coddled. They had to be told it's okay to speak up. It's okay to speak your mind. It's okay to speak your mind anyways. You don't need somebody's permission. Nobody does. We need men. We need real men back in power. And again, man, I'm not saying that women can't be in power. I'm not saying there aren't certain good female politicians. There are, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and there are some really good female politicians. Again, I'm not saying there aren't. But we need men in power, back in power. We need more men in places like school principals. Again, we need males. We need men back in places of power in the community. We do. We need to have traditional men, masculinity. Again, and who aren't afraid, who are not afraid to speak up. Because that is what's going to be required. And again, man, if you're afraid, I understand that, but look at yourself. Again, just be aware that you're afraid, and I guarantee you it will start to go away. It will start to dissipate. Just be aware of it. Be aware of it. And, again, be willing to push that envelope to make yourself feel uncomfortable. Again, be willing to lean into it. Be willing to go one step further. than you were last week or yesterday or last year. And again, man, we have got to understand that we need men. We need men to be men. Man, again, not just for procreation, but, for things like fixing the roads, working in construction, being in politics. Again, because I think a lot of times men, they see something. Again, man-based women do too, but I think a lot of, traditionally masculine men, they see things that other people miss. They see the implicit danger in something. They see how a government entity may be overstepping. They see danger within that. And they try to bring balance back to it. And that's something we need. And people, men cannot be afraid to be men. And again, man, nobody's going to make anyone feel comfortable for being a man. That's something we have to do on our own. But hey guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks.
You son of a